quiet it is? Yeah, that's because it's the middle of the freaking night. It's 3 in the morning. Why am I doing a video about bass fishing at 3 in the morning? Well, man, that is a really good question. And I would like to give you a really good answer. I just don't have one. I gotta be honest with you. Like, this is my life, right? I have a problem. Let's just call it what it is. I have a problem. Listen, I don't know what it is. 3 in the morning, I wake up kind of in the middle of the night, and I'm laying in bed, and next thing I know, I'm thinking about fishing. I was thinking about what happened the night before or the day before out there on the water, and I made this video. I'm out here making a stupid video. And let me explain. It is, by the way, it's 3 in the morning. It's dead quiet. There's nothing going on. If a neighbor looks out his window, he's gonna be like, what is that weirdo doing out there? I gotta tell you, I'm consumed with it, man. This is my life. Like once my mind starts thinking, it's hard to shut it off, right? Yesterday I was out there fishing, and it's middle of August right now, and what I was doing was I had some prototype baits. Some of y'all know, I work with Strike King as product innovation, product development, and I'm gonna do some videos over that, right? Over like developing baits and stuff like that. But there's a lot that goes into it, right? On this side of it, and yesterday, we had baits that we had already kind of halfway designed. We had prototypes of it, and so I had gotten them in. Well, I'd gone out to the lake the other day and got to use one of them and caught a pretty good one on it, caught some other ones, and I kind of tore it up. Well, this other one, it really wasn't, the lake I was at, I really couldn't use it. So I went to this other lake, was using it, and caught some big ones on it, right? So it wasn't right. It was about 90% right. Like there was like one little issue I think I could fix on it. But with that being said, I kind of look up, not really paying attention, and I go load my boat. And I actually made an Instagram story about this, but I went and loaded my boat, and I pulled up to the parking lot, and I'm the only one out there, like the only one. And I have not seen that in a long, long time, but it's like 3:30 in the afternoon. It's freaking hot. It's the middle of August. Remember, I just made a video, Dog Days of Summer. So I'm walking up there going, man, it's kind of crazy, like the good old days. And what I mean by the good old days is I used to always be out there when it was hot and nasty and hard fishing. And I used to pick those days, not only because they were hard, but I wouldn't even get out there in the morning and the afternoon. I wouldn't fish during the good times, okay? And here was my process. Now, a lot of this went into tournament fishing, but it can be fishing in general. I've done some one rod series where it's like I just take one rod out there, and basically what I do is I have one bait tied on there, and I just throw that one bait, right? I learned a lot of my fishing by just going out there and doing one single thing all day long. It forced me to learn that technique. Well, I kind of forced myself to learn how to fish when it was extremely, extremely hard, extremely tough. And what it did was it kind of forces you to get good that time of the year. And now it's like I love it. Like I almost want it to be just nasty, hot, where everyone wants to go in. And what I did was yeah, the morning times and afternoons are good, but I realized you could kind of catch them pretty easy, like they just turned on. And I'm like, there's no way they're not biting in the middle of the day. They gotta be. And so, and we all know, yeah, they bite a little bit, but I mean, I really wanted to focus on catching them during that time where I think a lot of people struggle. And so I got to thinking about that because I caught them pretty good, and I don't know if anyone else did. And the only reason I say that is usually when I'm out there and I'm catching them really good, and maybe I see someone else catching them, I see a lot of boats out there. But I can always tell, and I've done this for years, like when you go to the boat ramp and there's no one there, they probably didn't have very good days. Like they got tired of not catching them and they left. I was only leaving because I had to go, but I had kind of thought like, man, I hadn't seen a boat in a couple hours either. So 3 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, I was really thinking about that bait I had been throwing and kind of how I wanted to redesign it and what I was going to do specifically to it. And so I was kind of just thinking about that. And then once my mind started rolling, I couldn't make it stop. And it made me think about all that, right? It made me think about like all the days I used to spend out there when it was really, really tough. And so I challenge y'all. I challenge y'all to get out there in the middle of the day on the worst days possible. And I know you're thinking, it's crazy. I have two philosophies when it comes to that. One is, when it's good, that's when you can do a lot of different things, right? You can like switch up baits, you can learn a new technique, you can do all these crazy things when it's good. Like I sometimes will get out there and be catching them one way and switch on purpose to learn something new. Like maybe I'd gotten a bait, you know, a new bait or something really big that I'm like, oh, this is the day to try this out, because I wanted to try it out when it was good. Like you want to try sometimes new techniques out when it's good. I always state that a new bait or something you're not very good with or something like that, something you're wanting to learn, pick the best days, okay? By far, pick the best days. It's always easier to learn when it's good than when it's bad. However, there is a time, if you have that confidence with the bait or you have that confidence with your abilities, then you go out there and go, how do I catch them when it's bad? Okay, and it's going to take a lot of, man, it takes a lot of just willpower really to get out there, because man, it's not good. There's a reason it's not good. But what I found over is it forces you to stop doing what you normally would do, right? And what I mean by that is you have to really think outside the box. You have to really like go try different things. You have to, whether it's fish faster, fish slower, fish deeper, it makes you get out of your comfort zone and go do something different. Now the problem is, this is the one problem I have with this, is when you do it and you sometimes go try different things, which probably is what you should do when it's really good, because that's when you might learn it. But if you can ever figure it out, and there's some things out there when it's really hard and it's really tough and it's really hot and it's not 3 in the morning, you every once in a while kind of find out, they're like, hey, I figured them out, and it's actually pretty good. That's the cool part, because now you have them when no one else does. And that was my point, is everyone's going to catch them. And this is kind of for tournament fishing for me. But you got to realize this is the way I think. It was always tournament fishing. So I never did any night fishing, because whatever I learned at night wouldn't translate during the day. And since I fished during the daytime, during daylight hours of the tournament, I just always was like, yeah, that's great, but it's not going to translate for me. So I never done a whole bunch of night fishing. But my light just went off on me. I'm telling you, it's dark out here. So now I lost my train of thought. Big surprise there. Give me a second. Night fishing, it wasn't a priority, right? It wasn't something I thought about. But during the day, like those hours where everyone struggles in the tournament, right? That's where I was like, if I can get good at those times, man, like those are the times I can win. Like those are the times I can pull away from people and put some extra fish in the bag. And what it did was I started learning different ways to catch them, to where I loved it. Like I couldn't wait. And even now, I don't mind taking a new prototype, right? Something that I had never thrown it. Now it's close to something I already had, but I mean, we're talking middle of August, going, yeah, I'm gonna go throw this thing and learn it. And I did. Like I caught them on it. Like it was pretty awesome. And I'm like, man, I could have kept on catching them out there, but it was the only one I had. And I already knew what I wanted to do, how I wanted to change it. I didn't want to lose it. So I ended up quitting. I ended up having some other things to do, and I was done. And now I'm going to go send it back in. I'm going to go have it changed. And actually, I think what we're going to do is we're going to change it 3 different ways. We're going to have 3 different options I'm going to have them do to it to make it, like I said, it's almost perfect. It's perfect enough for me, but I really want to make sure there's some differences I want to work out. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with y'all. Like, get out there on the water, Like those days when you're like, man, they're just not biting. Let's go on in. Man, I tell y'all, like those are the days. Like really spend a couple extra hours. When you see no one, when you see everyone going in, those are the days to stay out there. Because I'm telling you, you can catch them. I promise you. Like, yeah, I know it gets hard and stuff, but man, it's one bite. Usually if you can get one bite that time of day, maybe even just two, like that's when you can be like, oh, okay, I can go do this. And a lot of times, man, that's the deal. That's what separates us from everyone else who kind of just gave up, you know. And that's really what I'm trying to tell you all, is that like don't give up on those tough days, man. Don't give up when it's supposed to get real hard out there and everyone's going in. Stay out there, guys. Like the rewards are huge, man, because you never know. You never know, man. One day you look up and you're like, hey, man, this ain't so bad out here. Our lakes are getting more crowded. Man, it wasn't crowded the other day. Like I looked up and I'm like, I can go do anything I want to on this, like anything. Like I literally was the only person out there. So one way to beat the crowds, right? Just get out there, let all the crowds go in for lunch, go get in that AC, sit out there and go catch them. Not have to worry about nothing. Anyways, I'm gonna get back in my garage and start working on fishing gear, because now I'm up. And yeah, I got a couple hours before it gets light outside. So yeah, get to go do that. Anyways, see y'all. Hopefully I'm not making videos again at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have my neighbor looking out his window, man, spying on me going, shit, I gotta freaking live next to a weirdo out there. Alright, either way.